What if Deku joined Team JPDE? Chapter 80. Kitten's Past. Wednesday. Day 178. Pyrrha was currently fighting all members Team CRDL in combat class, and she was beating their ass. Pyrrha was effortless fending of each of them off. It was so effortless in fact, that after the match had ended Pyrrha pretty much still had all her aura left, whilst all of Team CRDL were in the red. Glinda approached from behind Kitten, who was clutching his ribs. "And that's the match," Glinda said. "Lucky shot," Kitten said. Kitten then collapsed. "Well done, Miss Nikos. An excellent performance, especially when outnumbered," Glinda said. "Thank you, Professor," Pyrrha said. "All right, now I know that's a tough act to follow, but we have time for one more sparring match. Any volunteers?" Glinda asked. Glinda looked around to see any raised hands. Mercury then raised his hand. "I'll do it." "Very well, Mercury, let's find you an opponent," Glinda said. "Actually, I wanna fight him," Mercury said, pointing at Izuku. "Izuku, do you accept Mercury's challenge?" Glinda asked. "I do," Deku said. "Then would the both of you please make your way down?" Glinda said. "You sure about this, Izuku? They might have something planned," Jack said. "Maybe. But I have a little plan of my own I want to enact," Deku said. "Okay. I'll trust you," Jack said. "What are you thinking?" Emerald asked. "Well, I need to get some practice against him in case we need to fight him later. And since you're too scared to fight him," Mercury said. "I'm not scared. I'm just cautious," Emerald said. Mercury laughed. "Sounds like the same thing to me," Mercury said. The two of them were now down in the arena waiting for someone to make the first move. The two started inching closer and closer together until they were almost face to face. Mercury then spun around to build up momentum for a kick. But to Mercury's surprise, Deku had countered with the exact same move. "What the?" Mercury said. Mercury quickly goes back in, launching several attacks at Deku, but he either dodged them or blocked them before proceeding. You use the same attacks back at Mercury, with much better success. "Not used to having you attacks used against you, are you?" Deku asked. Mercury grunted. Mercury went for an axe kick, to which Deku grabbed hold. Mercury went to kick Deku with his other leg, but Deku grabbed that one again. "You're fighting angry," Deku said. "He's got you there, you idiot." "Ma'am, should I?" Emerald asked. "No, I want to see what our little friends can really do," Cinder said. Deku had now thrown Mercury across the arena. Just as Mercury got up, he saw Deku flying towards him likewise. Mercury quickly dropped and spun to kick Deku up. Using his shield as a platform, like Pyrrha, Deku changed direction back towards Mercury. Deku then proceeded to launch several attacks at Mercury that were copies of his friends. "Has he seriously been studying our moves all this time?" Weiss asked. "I'd like to say no, but I'm seeing it, Pyrrha. How has he got the time to do that? I've managed to learn everyone's moves. But he's had even less time. And he's copying them," Jaun said. "I've seen enough. Get that idiot under control before he gets seriously hurt," Cinder said. "Yes, ma'am," Emerald said. Mercury and Deku were now on opposite sides of the arena. Deku charged in for a final blow when "I forfeit," Mercury said. Deku stopped, his fist inches from Mercury's face. A gust of wind then came from Deku's fist. "Had enough, Hermes?" Deku asked. Mercury just grunted. Mercury Black has forfeit. Izuku Midoriya is the victor of the match. Next time, you may want to think a little harder before choosing an opponent, Glinda said. "I'll be sure to do that," Mercury said. And with that final match, the lesson is over, children. But before you leave, please gather round and listen up, Glinda said. Every student now had their attention on Glinda. You must have noticed by now that Beacon doesn't have final exams for any of its classes. Not for combat, nor for aura or history or grim studies. Nothing. There's only one final test at the end of the year. Your first true taste of a hunter's work. And that's all that matters. We take attendance and work on a credit system because we need to make sure you're in our classes, taking the chance to partake of our knowledge and experience. But we know all too well that learning can't always be exemplified in a controlled environment, like a school. There's only one situation where everything you've learned can't be hidden: the battlefield. There are no books, not tests to ace, no questions to answer if not your own. Questions like, how do I defeat this enemy? How do I reach my goal? How do I help my teammate? And how do I survive this? You will be escorted by a veteran hunter, because the purpose of this exam is to evaluate you. But it's also a chance to really discover yourselves and what being a hunter means to you. Some of you may have had more contact than others with the world as it is outside of cities like Vale, but experiencing it as a hunter is something completely different. As your teacher, nothing would make me more proud than if you all succeeded and all came back still set on the path of the hunter. But as your teacher, what would really make me happy is you finding the path you really belong on, even if it'll take you away from Beacon. So keep it in mind when you choose your mission on Monday. Find that path, work towards your goal. And stay safe, students. For as long as you'll have it, Beacon shall be your home away from home. Class dismissed, Glinda said. We should probably take that advice, Evelyn said. It's probably the first time since we arrived in Beacon that we're going to have time to think about the future, Jack said. We can't always be fighting gods and their underlings, can we? Penny said. Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? The final exam, helping May, David said. That'll be the most normal thing we've done since coming to this school, Evelyn said. No, you idiot, Deku yelled. Everyone jumped in shock. You've just gone and jinxed us. Now we're going to find some special grim out there or something like that, Deku said. You really think that will happen? Penny said. If I have learned anything on Earth and Remnant, is that anything can happen, Deku said. Deku was in his dorm room when there was a knock at the door. Deku opened the door to see Blake standing there. Blake. What a surprise. What brings you to my neck of the woods? Deku said. We need to talk, Blake said. About what? Deku asked. About what happened last time, Blake said. Oh, that. If you're ready then, Deku said. Blake and Deku had moved to the garden. So where do we start? Blake asked. Hopefully at the beginning. I hate starting a story in the middle, Deku said. You know what I mean, Dick. You're owed an explanation. You've gotten yourself mixed into something you don't deserve. Just because. Because, Blake said. Because I like you. You can say that out loud, Deku said. You shouldn't, Blake said. Why not? Deku asked. Everyone who gets close to me gets ruined. One way or another, Blake said. Ruined, huh? Interesting choice of words. Most people would say hurt, Deku said. Hurt is only part of it, Blake said. Would you prefer if I asked you questions, then? Deku asked. Yes. I think I'd prefer if you did, Blake said. Okay. Blake, by any chance, was the person who came after me and Sun your ex-boyfriend? Who is he exactly? Deku asked. Adam Taurus. As you guessed, he's my ex-boyfriend. He's also one of the Rokutsume, Blake said. Rokutsume? What's that? Deku asked. It's Old Mistrali. It translates to Six Claws. They are the regional leaders of the White Fang. The Fang is organized in 6 districts, so to speak. Each one answers to a Rokutsume, who in turn answer to the supreme leader. Northern Mistral, Southern Mistral. Atlas, Vale. Southern and Northern Vacuo. Adam is the one in charge of the Vale region. But he wasn't when I met him, Blake said. What was he, then? Deku asked. Just another lost soul. Born in Atlas, he had recently escaped bondage through one of our operations. He had suffered terribly, and was so lost. He didn't know what to do with his anger and frustration, either, since his abusers had died in the operation. A better person would have helped him get better, prevent his past of abuse to define the rest of his life. Instead he met me. Young, emotional, naive, toxic. I saw potential in him. So I persuaded him to enter the Fang. And in so doing, filled his mind with poison. I only understood what I had done when he realized that potential, rising through the ranks in an incredibly short time. Being chosen to replace the previous Rokutsume when they passed. And making the Veil chapter increasingly more violent and less discriminatory, Blake said. He started going after everyone, Deku said. Yes. Civilians. Women and children. Non-aligned faunae. And to my shame, there was a point where I didn't see a difference either. The nuances, the us versus them, the black and white. It was all I could see, Blake said. Blake, you were younger, Deku said. And stupider. When I eventually came to my senses and left, Adam took it very personally. And her had every right to do so. I was the one who radicalized him and then I fled him. Seeing him nothing but a monster, Blake said. Is he? Deku asked. Yes. But of my own making. Izuku, you know how semblances are a reflection of people's souls and personality. I create a copy of myself out of shadows. I literally make another me and stuff it full of my darkness. You understand what I'm trying to say? Blake asked. That you're going to turn me into the worst version of myself? Or something like that, Deku asked. If Adam doesn't hurt you first. If he's personally leading the Fang in whatever operation they are involved in the city, I'm sure he will do his utmost to mix business and pleasure, Blake said. He can try, Deku said. Huh? You want to fight Adam? Blake asked. I don't want to fight anyone. But if he plans to hurt the innocent and the ones I care about, then we're going to have problems, Deku said. But you just won't be fighting Adam, you'll have to fight the whole Veil region of the White Fang as well. You can't do that alone, Blake said. Who says I'm alone? I've got you, my teammates, your teammates, and my friends. United together, I'm sure we can stop Adam, Deku said. I struggle to understand you, Izuku. Are you just superficial? Is that it? Blake asked. Nah, just optimistic. It's an important trait of being a hero, Deku said. And what would a hero think about my influence? Blake asked. They would think that you are not the same person you were before. You were oppressed. You were put down because of something you couldn't control and allowed a toxic mindset to take over. But as you said, you saw the light. You saw what you were doing was wrong and pulled yourself out. And now you're training so that this darkness may never consume someone again, Deku said. Have I ever told you how much I love you? Blake said. Many times. Now I've got some free time you can take if you want, Deku said. Yes, Blake said. The two then went into Veil for a date, but things weren't going to go as expected. Not long after exiting the bullhead, the two ran into a familiar figure. The two of them were now face to face with Callie Belladonna. Sensing the awkwardness, Deku moved quickly. Mrs. Belladonna, allow me to take care of your shopping, Deku said. Deku quickly took the list and bags Callie had and took off. Well, this isn't how I expected this to go, Callie said. Mom. What are you doing here? Blake asked. To get the chance to see you again, Blake. I missed you, Callie said. Blake started to cry. I missed you too, Blake said. Blake then ran into Callie's arms. You were right. You were right, Blake cried. It's okay. It's okay, Callie comforted. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Blake cried. The two then went to Callie's apartment, where Blake told Callie about everything since they last saw each other. And that's when I decided to leave, Blake said. Why didn't you come back home? Callie asked. You didn't deserve that. You still don't. You left behind a daughter. What I had become was a beast. A monster. I had no right to put that on you, when you had warned me what chasing that path, that anger, would do to me, Blake said. Had become, Callie asked. I'm not going to act like I've even begun to atone for all I've done. But, despite my best intentions, I've managed to make trusted friends who have zero patience when it comes to my self-destructing bullshit. I may not be someone I like fully, yet. But I am changing. And I intend to continue to change, until I can hold my head high and stop sticking to the shadows, Blake said. You've matured. I wish it hadn't taken such a traumatic experiences. But you've grown, Blake. Blake. Me and your father would really like if you came home, Callie said. I can't. But not because of the reason you may think. The Fang is in Vale. They are planning something, Blake said. Yes. I know, Callie said. Me and my team have been investigating their operations. I can't just leave them in the middle of it. And truth tell, I don't really want to. As I said, they are my friends. They are all great girls, and even if I left, they wouldn't just stop investigating the Fang. They are not doing it for me, they are doing it because they want to help. And beyond even the Fang, Mom. I want to become a huntress, now, Blake said. Why, Callie asked. Huh, Blake said. Why do you want to become a huntress? I think it's a fair question to ask, considering what happened last time you made a career choice, Callie said. Blake laughed. Fair enough. Why? When I first came to Beacon, it was to hide and make up for what I've done. I was scared, angry at myself, Blake said. A lifetime of penance. Can't say I approve, Callie said. I know. But that was before. Now. I still feel the pull to go back to what I was before, but it's not as strong. My friends made it possible. And so, I want to become a huntress because in Team RWBY I found a place where I belong. A place where I can be happy and become a better me. A new Blake. Someone you can be proud of, Blake said. That's better. It really makes me glad to hear you say that, and to realize that you mean it, Callie said. I'm surprised myself. Also. Beacon has vacation time, no. I was thinking of coming back to Menagerie after the Vittle Festival, Blake said. Oh, please do. Your father would be so happy. Not being able to come to Vale once we found out you were here weighs on him so much, Callie said. I promise I'll come. I'm done running from the two of you, Blake said. That's great. Feel free to bring any of your friends, too, or Ijuku. Brothers know we have enough space, Callie said. I think that may be a bit premature, especially considering. Wait a minute. How do you know his name? And how does he know you're my mother, Blake asked. How do we know each other, indeed? You sure you didn't mention me, Callie asked. No, I have not. I'm absolutely certain. I have not mentioned him even in passing, so far, Blake said. Fair enough. Nothing nefarious, my dear, I simply was having a stroll in the market area when I caught your scent on a strapping young man. I approached him and he was nice enough to talk to me. I can assure you he didn't share any private details, he just reassured me that you were well and surrounded by friends, Callie said. I see. So that's how you knew that I had enrolled in Beacon, Blake said. Yes. The information that we managed to get through some old contacts stopped at Vale. If it hadn't been for him, I probably would have gone back home or another kingdom, Callie said. I will have to thank him. Also for not telling me that you were here. Brothers know how I would have reacted, Blake said. Yeah. He's a good boy but so easy to read when flustered, Callie said. I know, right? He just... Wait a minute. How and when did you see Ijuku, flustered, Blake asked. Well, when we went out for the first time, and he was talking about you met, he suddenly froze and blushed when he mentioned bonding over books, Callie said. Blake sighed. That sounds like him. And I guess you figured out what kind of stuff I read from that single reaction, Blake said. Afraid I did. Please tell me you read Madonna Uck's works, Callie asked. Blake blushed. Blake then came to a realization. Hold the scroll, Blake said. Callie said. Went out. You used the words went out, Blake said. That. Yes, I believe I did, Callie said. Went out. As in, like a date. Went on a date. And you said first time. As in you had more than one date, Blake asked. Maybe so. I don't consider our first meeting as one, so. Oh gods. It appears that I have lost count of how many times we've met. Although I won't forget the second time, he had no idea what was happening, the poor dear, Callie said. Of course he had no idea. Mom, what did you do to him, Blake asked. Nothing bad, Callie said. You did not, Blake said. What if I did, Callie asked. I can't believe you, Blake yelled. Why not, Callie asked. You slept with my boyfriend, Blake yelled. He wasn't your boyfriend at the time, young lady. I know a taken man when I see one, and he was not taken by you. The girls he was actually taken by didn't seem to mind sending him in the den of the lion. So I indulged myself, Callie said. You you guys haven't changed a bit, Blake yelled. Nope. But of course, now that you're actually in a serious entanglement, if you wish me to stop relating to him as a sexually available partner, I will, Callie said. If. And you think that makes it okay? Just because I read erotica doesn't mean that I, Blake yelled. So. This is what you left us for, a voice asked. Blake and Callie jumped as a red-haired girl in tactical gear made herself present. Ilia, Blake said. Running back to the weak, useless old guard. Playing house with human, Ilia questioned. Ilia's skin then turned green. Being defiled by one, Ilia questioned. Mom, stay behind me, Blake said. Blake, who is this person, Callie asked. Ilia Amitala. She's with the Fang and we were assigned to the same unit, Blake said. I see, Callie said. Ilia's skin then went pink and her hair went blue. Is that all I am to you, Blake? An ex-companion, Ilia asked. I wish I could say it's because of your warm opening statements, Ilia. But truth is, we could have never been anything but, Blake said. You're that far gone, Ilia asked. That far removed from you and the Fang, yes. And honestly, I have you to thank for it, Blake said. Ilia's skin then went back to normal. Explain, Ilia said. I could have never noticed what I had become and what I had done without meeting you. Without hearing you talk about your past. I've lost count of the amount of fawny who I met and told me about their experiences with racism. From isolation, to sneering, to work treatment, to worse, Blake said. Blake, Callie thought. Whenever I spoke to them, underneath the flurry of emotions there was always the underlying current of sadness. But not you. When you told me about your experiences in school in Atlas, all I could feel from you was anger. And hate, Blake said. Ilia's hair then went back to normal. Well, excuse me for being pissed off, I remember a few choice words from you about human, as well, Ilia said. Indeed. And when I looked around, when I looked at what I had turned Adam into, at the people he had started surrounding himself with, all I could see was hate and anger. Without. And within. Somewhere down the road, hate became all I knew. It built my world, imprisoned me as did everyone around me. Taught me how to eat, how to drink, how to breathe. I thought I'd die with all the hate in my veins and take so many more innocents with me. That's why I left, Blake said. So you left because you were a coward. Because the cause was not important enough to you. The princess couldn't sully her hands no more, Ilia said. There's nothing cowardly about what my daughter has done, Callie said. Mom, Blake said. This coming from the old guard who led us nowhere. To this day we're still fighting to get rid of your harmful influence. But if you make a habit of consorting with human males, no wonder you're still trapped in the mentality of a slave, Ilia said. You're nothing but a sad, cruel, ignorant child, aren't you, Callie said. Callie began to move closer to Ilia. Mom, she's dangerous, Blake said. Watch your mouth, Sao, Ilia said. First of all, the entire reason why you can even go on your little revenge crusade is because of us. We built the entire structure and all the connections you're using to keep it going. Second, you speak of cause. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believed that the cause of the White Fang was the good of our people. So, excuse me for being unimpressed with indiscriminate violence that only harms them overall, Callie said. We've freed hundreds of our brothers and sisters, Ilia said. And how many of those found lives outside of the Fang? How many others are facing the consequences of your bloodshed despite not having even ever looked at a White Fang leaflet, while you keep playing racial avenger? I don't know if the arithmetics you learned at that fancy Atalsean school stuck with you, young lady, but there aren't that many of us Fawny. There are swaths of humans who have never seen one. But they will have heard of the Fang. And they will hear of your chapter's actions, it will color their perception, and any racist falsehoods about any Fawny they meet will go unchallenged. Your actions systematically take away chances at happiness for us the world over. And you're too far gone down your own self-pity spiral to even realize it. Boo-hoo, my parents are dead and my schoolmates were mean to me, Callie said. Mom, Blake yelled. Watch it, Ilia yelled. You watch it, young lady. I've heard thousands of those stories. I've lived and seen them, and so has my husband. I haven't forgiven and I probably never will. But I chose to endure, because my people needed leaders. Our methods may have been outdated, because the world changed around us. We recognized that and that's why we left. But I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and be insulted by a child who aims to ruin everything we've worked for. Someone like you. Someone like you could never make my daughter happy, Callie said. What, Blake said. You're lucky you're more trouble dead at my hand than alive, you bitch. But I pray the grim choke on your innards, Ilia said. Ilia then left. She's gone. I can't smell her anymore, Callie said. Mom, what you said at the end. Was that, Blake asked. I could tell easily. When she asked about what she was to. Wait. You mean you didn't know, Callie asked. No, I never knew, Blake said. Well, in that case. Let's go back to what we were talking about before we were interrupted, Callie said. Sometime later, Deku had finished with Callie's shopping and was about to enter her apartment. He hoped that everything had gone well between them and hoped that it would continue even after telling Blake about his dates with Callie. Blake. Mrs. Belladonna. Are you here, Deku asked. We're in the bedroom, Blake said. Deku then made his way to the bedroom. Blake, there's something I need to, Deku said, entering the bedroom. Deku was then tackled to the bed. What the, Deku yelled. Deku was then blindfolded and tied up. Blake. Callie. Is this you, Deku said. Yes it is, darling, Callie said. Okay. Next question. Why have you done this to me, Deku said. Because I have some questions in need answering, and I'm not going to allow you to run away, Blake said. Ah. So you found out. Blake, Deku said. Shush, Ijuku. Mom told me everything. And I've come to terms with it, Blake said. Really, Deku asked. Yes, but that doesn't mean you're off the hook for this, Blake said. That's fair. So what are you going to do to me, Deku said. You'll see, Callie said. The blindfold was then removed from Deku's face. Deku saw Blake and Callie before him in some revealing outfits. I'm not going to get any sleep tonight, am I, Deku asked. Nope, Callie said. End of chapter 80.